All right, this is where we left off, right here in the library. We're going to start here with the kind of the first part of making anything or adding anything to the library. Is we need a symbol, and I already have a symbol, but I want to show you. I'm going to essentially just make a resistor, and probably not a very nice one because I'm going to rush through this, and I honestly don't make symbols very often. I usually reuse them, but you should have the capability of making one yourself. So down here at the bottom of the column, it says add symbol. As soon as you hit that, it says, what do you want your new symbol name to be? And I'm just going to give it, this is a terrible name, by the way, but it's going to work for now. Test resistor. Yeah, I'm at resistor. Okay, great. And then it wants you to confirm you want to create that. Yes, I do. And it will automatically open up a new window here, and if you're looking closely, you'll see that there's a grid on, and the grid control is right up here. When we click on that little button, you see that the grid is set to 0.1 inches. Don't change it. Don't get creative at this point. When every electrical connection that you're going to put in your symbol has to snap to the 0.1 inch grid. That's kind of a hard-coded thing into Eagle, and this is not the time to change it. So for now, we're going to leave that. I'll show you why you want to change that later. But let's think about what our resistor needs. It has 2 pins, 2 terminals that we need to put on there. Eagle calls them pins. So over here on the left, I will pick a pin. And we have a lot of attributes up here, which we can kind of cover some of those things probably in a more advanced video. But for now, this is easy enough to see. This is our pin. I'm just kind of floating it around. If I right-click, it'll rotate it. And the rotation is here. The type of pin depicted is here. Like, you can have your pin look like this or like that. The default is this, and we're going to stick with that for the time being. You can pick the length of it. You make it a little bit longer, shorter, stubby, whatever. The direction, PAS is passive, and we're going to stick with that. The swap level is 1. Both of these things are worthy of a whole new discussion, so we won't get locked up in that right now in the interest of time. So I'm going to put, this is going to be one terminal of my resistor. Put this, notice how it's snapping to, I can't just put it anywhere, it's snapping to the intersection on the grid. This is critical. It has to be, the electrical connections have to be at that point. So let me put this one down. It automatically, as soon as I left click that, it generates another pin. It kind of knows that you just want to put down a bunch of pins. So I'm going to rotate that one to where it's in this orientation. Is that equal? I think it is. And what I am trying to do, sorry, minor interruption. So what I'm trying to do is center them right here on the origin. This is the 0, 0 position. And if you look closely right here, it's telling you where you are on your grid, and you want the center of your part to be at 0, 0. Trust me on that one. Once we get into the schematic design, you'll see just how terrible it would be to have the center of your part not in the center of the grid. So right now it automatically assigned these pin names, $$1 and $2. Those are going to change a little bit later, but right now I don't even want to see them. So I'm going to right click, select properties, visibility, nope. And over here, properties, I'm right clicking, properties, visibility, off, and okay. So that gets those things off the screen. And so our electrical connections are established, and that is just fantastic. So now we kind of want the little squiggly part of our resistor symbol, and that is just symbolic. So that can be kind of whatever. It doesn't have to conform to the grid, but I do want it to start right there on our pin. So I'm going to go to the grid now, and I'm going to change that to half the size. It's a multiple of 100. That makes it a little bit easier. And I'm going to make this one 2.5. So what we see here, this is the coarse grid. This is what you see. This is what everything's going to snap to 50 thousandths of an inch. Alt of 0.025. That means when I hold my Alt key down, it will alternatively snap to whatever this is, which happens to be half of 5. So I get these like half increments, which is kind of handy. when you're making a symbol like this anyway. So I'll say okay, and I just need a graphical line to go here. So that's pretty simple. I'm gonna go pick a line, and it automatically puts this line on what's called layer 94, which is symbols. I should probably do a video that covers the layers in general. This is important, but Eagle is it puts all these different things on layers. You can turn layers on and off, and different things go on different layers. And technically, you can draw on any layer. That's all fine. However, there are standards, and you pretty much want all of your symbols to be on, not too surprising, the symbols layer. So we're going to keep that default now. This just selects the type of wire, the width of the wire, the style, all that kind of stuff. The defaults are fine. So I'm just going to kind of wing this a little bit and see what this thing looks like. Oh, okay, great. Well, that kind of sort of looks like a resistor, except I've got this really weird jog over here. So let's Control Z, get rid of that. This is where we're going to use the alternate key. So still with the line connected, I will start here. But now as I hit alternate, now I can snap in between these lines, and it's a little bit easier to make a symbol. I think I've got these things spread out a little bit too far, but you'll get the idea. This is going to be a pretty crazy resistor symbol, but all right, so we're actually a little bit better. So, you know, I think I could probably design this a little bit better, but you kind of get the idea. This line is essentially meaningless in terms of its electrical connection. It's just a visual cue that this is a resistor. But let's say I don't want the line to be this width. I want the line to be a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. There are three ways we can go about that. The first one is right-click on any segment and select Properties, and it pulls up all of the properties, and here's the width and all of the other things that we previously chose, but now we can change them. So let's say we want it to be a little bit thicker. We'll go from 10 to say 16 and hit apply. It's like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. But now all of these, I kind of want all of those to be the same. Couple of ways we can go about that, but the first way I think is easy, is this paint roller tool. This is relatively new. When I have the paint roller selected and I pick on something, it says select properties to copy. So I can copy any of these selectable properties. In this case, I really just want to copy the width. So now every one that I click, it just makes it the width of the one that I chose previously. And there it is. So with that, we have the width, and we love it. The next thing is we need our name and our value. This is how the schematic is going to know to put R1, R2, R3, and 100K, 10K, whatever resistor you pick. So I'll pick hit the little letter button and say text, and the greater than symbol is the key for Eagle to know that you're calling out an attribute. So it's going to look at the name of it, which is called name, and we can put this kind of anywhere, but here we have a layer problem. It has automatically put that text onto the symbols layer, and what we want it to be on is the names layer, 95. So that'll go there. As soon as we click that, it plants it, and this one we're going to put here, but we don't want two names. What we want this one to be, I'm going to right click it and say properties. I want this one to be value. Oops. I want this to be all caps. So now when you type in a value, it knows that you're going to put the value down here and the name's up there. And there you go. So this is a very fundamental look at how you create schematic symbols. There's a lot more to cover, a lot more to discuss about keep out area. Oh, wrong. That's for the other thing. There's other things that we can put in here that are going to be important for schematics. Oh yeah, let's do the description real quick. So here, description. I got to do this quick because I'm trying to keep these in the neighborhood of 10 minutes. This top area is a preview of what the description is going to be. The bottom, bizarrely, is HTML. So if I start typing and I hit enter and I start typing again, it's just making lines of text up here, which is totally awful. So we have to tag it like HTML. So I'm going to do a paragraph and make it bold. These are HTML tags. We'll say resistor. Whoops. My microphone is covering up my keyboard, and I can't type without looking at my keyboard. Store. Jesus. Resistor is awesome. This is a terrible name, but that's okay. So now we'll close out the tags and close out the paragraph. And this one's not supposed to be N. That one's supposed to be B. And then I can put Carlos is also awesome, and then break. I can't spell awesome. I can't type awesome, but that's okay too. All right, so now when I click OK, now I have a description to go along with the symbol, and the fundamentals of the symbol are made. And I think I'm going to do the footprint next, and we'll see you then.